Mets baseball is brought to you by Rheingold, the natural beer with no additives. Rheingold knows how you feel about beer. This game is also brought to you by Manufacturers Hanover, the personal loan bank. By Getty, the company that gives you more for your money. And White Owl, the most famous name in cigars, with a size and shape to please every smoker. When we say we're going to get you, we get you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Lindsey Nelson, along with Ralph Count and Bob Murphy here in Cincinnati, Ohio, for the start of the championship series to settle the pennant in the National League.
It was fair with the 4 o'clock starting time. The sun was going to be a real problem here, and it would be a tough time for the hitters. That has been eliminated. It's an overcast sky. We're also playing on artificial turf, so it should be a real good ball game.
And the starting pitchers in today's opening game. For New York, the man with the lowest ERA in the league, the most strikeouts, a strong Cy Young candidate, Tom Seaver. Jack Billingham, 19-10 for Cincinnati.
It's the best 3 out of 5 series, 2 games here back in New York for whatever else is necessary. We're just about ready for the start of the game between the Reds and the Mets.
The lineup cards have been presented at home plate. The umpires have taken their stations. Jack Billingham has finished warming up. Tom Seaver is still warming up. We'll be the start of today's game in just 1 minute. Now, here's a word from Getty Oil.
Getty, the company that gives you more miles for your money. We'd like to talk about giving you more tire for your money. Steel-belted radial tires like these are the best we sell. That's why Getty wants to make them easier to buy. With a Getty credit card, you get up to 6 months to pay. And by paying on time, you don't pay any interest. No interest to us means more money for you. Getty, more for your money.
Getty Oil and the many Getty dealers in the New York area have asked me to convey their hearty congratulations to Yogi and his remarkable Mets for a super job well done in 1973. The first ball has just been thrown out, the ceremonial first pitch with Lewis Crosley, brother of the late Powell Crosby, former owner of the Cincinnati Reds, performing that chore here this afternoon. And so the Cincinnati Reds are on the field with Jack Billingham, a record of 19 wins and 10 losses, an earned run average of 3.04 on the mound. He made 3 starts against the Mets this year. He won 2, he lost none. He blanked the Mets 5-0 on a 3-hitter at Riverfront Stadium on June 4th. He allowed only 2 hits on a July 13th 2-1 triumph in Cincinnati. That win came over Tom Seaver. The game was played in 1 hour, 37 minutes. Here's the lineup in batting order now for the visiting New York Mets. Leading off and playing third base is Wayne Garrett. Batting second, the second baseman, Felix Millan. Batting third in right field, Rusty Staub. Hitting cleanup at first base, John Milner. Batting fifth in left field, Cleon Jones. Batting sixth and catching, Jerry Grody. Batting seventh in center field, Don Hahn. Batting eighth and playing shortstop, Bud Harrelson. Batting ninth and pitching, Tom Seaver. For the Cincinnati Reds, lineup in batting order. Pete Rose in left field leading off. Joe Morgan at second base, batting second. Dan Driesen at third base, batting third. Tony Perez, the first baseman, batting fourth. Johnny Bench catching and batting fifth. Ken Griffey in right field, batting sixth. Cesar Geronimo playing center field. Darrell Cheney, the shortstop, and Jack Billingham, the pitcher. Wayne Garrett is up to lead it off. He's hitting .256. The first pitch is in for a called strike. Garrett has 16 home runs and 58 runs batted in. Wayne Garrett, third baseman of the New York Mets. The sun's trying to break through the overcast. The pitch is low for a ball. Ed Sudol is the umpire behind the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike. The count to Wayne Garrett. Pitch is low for a ball. It's 2-1. Ed Vargo is the umpire at first. Chris Pellicudis at second. Bob Engel at third. Bruce Froemming down the left field line. Jerry Dale down the right field line. There's Billingham. 2-1 pitch. On the ground, and it hits the bag and bounds out on the right for a base hit. Run down by Morgan, and so it is a single. A single for a leadoff man, Wayne Garrett. The bag high into the air and out into right field for a base hit. This telecast comes to you through the courtesy of Rheingold Breweries Incorporated and Channel 9, and is authorized under television rights granted by the New York Mets solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game, not to express written consent of the New York Mets, is prohibited. Felix Millan's at the plate. He's hitting .290. 3 homers and 37 runs batted in. Round the butt, pushes the ball to the right side. Perez will have to play it to Morgan covering in time. Garrett goes to second. Sacrifice goes 3-4. If you're scoring, there's one man out. That will bring up Rusty Staub. Staub is hitting .279, 15 home runs, and 76 runs batted in. In the final game in Chicago, Rusty Staub had 4 hits. Jack Billingham pointed out that over the course of the season, Staub changed his way of batting. Billingham said he changed his way of batting against me. Well, he did, but he changed his way of batting against everyone. Stopped trying to pull the ball with power and started hitting it straight away. Breaking pitch is low and inside for a ball. Sellout, standing room only crowd of some 56,000 on hand here. That's outside. 2-0 the count. Billingham came to the Cincinnati Reds from the Houston Astros in a multiplayer deal that involved the likes of Joe Morgan and Lee May. He was at one time with the Los Angeles Dodgers, was traded to Montreal, but never played for them before going to Houston. Fastball's in for a strike. It's 2-1. As usual, Eddie Yost is on the coaching lines at third, and Roy McMillan's on the coaching lines at first for manager Yogi Berra's New York Mets. Staub's tired of waiting. He backs out. Ralph Kiner, it's a battle between the sun and the overcast.
It's been going back and forth. Right now, the sun is out. That means left field is very difficult. There's the on-deck batter, John Milner.
2-1 the count to Staub. One man out. Garrett at second base. Breaking pitch missed low. So it goes to 3-1. Here's a 3-1 offering. Missed low, walked him, so their run is first and second. Staub to first. Garrett holds at second, and John Milner's coming up. John Milner's hitting .239, 23 homers, 72 runs batted in. He was in a late season slump, but manager Sparky Anderson of the Cincinnati Reds pointed out this morning that John Milner is a man that the opposition must fear because, as Sparky put it, he can put you in a hole with one swing of his bat. And there's a swing of the bat into center now. The ball is taken on one hop, and Garrett's held at third. The throw comes in off that artificial turf in a hurry, and that's one of the differences in the game as Geronimo came up on one hop and fired it.
Geronimo has one of the best arms in baseball, and Eddie Yost, the third base coach, knew that, and he had no chance to score his man, so he held him up. A wise decision on the Mets' part.
And, Ralph, it's a thing the Mets have to be acutely aware of, the fact that on artificial turf, that ball gets out there and gets back a lot quicker than it would at Shea Stadium.
There is no doubt about that. A very fast surface, and so now it's bases loaded and Cleon Jones coming up.
Pedro Bourbon throwing in the bullpen. Bourbon is up and throwing in this first inning. Cleon Jones at bat for the Mets. He's been swinging the hot bat, hitting .260, 11 homers, and 48 runs batted in. 6 hits in his last 14 times at bat, including a home run and 4 runs batted in. The bases are loaded. There's one man out. The breaking pitch is low for a ball. The Mets are making an early bid here in the top half of the first inning at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati, Ohio. Infield set a double play depth for the Cincinnati Reds. Jones watches in there for a called strike. It's 1-1. Cleon Jones was a clutch man for the Mets, both offensively and defensively in the month of September as they came down the stretch to win in the Eastern Division. Swing and a miss on a breaking pitch, so it goes 1-2. Cleon is followed in the order by Jerry Grody, and there he is. Billingham working straight away. Hit in front of the plate is blocked by Johnny Bench. There is no advance. It's several feet in front of the plate to run the count to 2-2 now to Jones. Now here comes Larry Shepard, the pitching coach of the Cincinnati Reds, to the mound to have a word with Jack Billingham, the ace of the staff, who had 19 wins this year. They've got Pedro Bourbon up and throwing in the bullpen.
When Billingham and Seaver met in a game under similar circumstances, a very late afternoon start, they played the fastest game in the major leagues at 1 hour and 37 minutes the last time they faced under these circumstances. It's not going to be that way today.
Billingham was saying yesterday that he had had a touch of the virus of late. Look around this ballpark now. Riverfront Stadium opened midsummer 1970. The All-Star game was played here that year. And today it is packed in jam. Tickets were really at a bargain. I saw a man in front of the hotel this morning offer another man $50 for a ticket he had in his hand. I'm glad the man didn't take it because he was a National League umpire.
I was going to say, did you sell it to him?
2-2 the count now to Cleon Jones. Billingham's pitch. And there it is to short. Could be a double play. Cheney over to Morgan and on to first, a double play. So the side is out. No runs, 2 hits, a walk, no errors, and 2 men left. And in the middle of the first inning, the score is the Mets nothing and the Reds coming to bat. Now, here's a word from Rheingold.
Ladies and gentlemen, Great Neck Electric is 1 strike away from the regional championship. 10 pins.
Whoever makes your name an elefante?
Elephant.
An elephant would forget it. So I got some ideas for you. Is Mr. Goodyear around today?
Goodrich, Pop.
Goodrich.
If you want Goodrich, you'll just have to remember Goodrich.
Watch out! Your car's cooling system can't hide from Old Man Winter or from his partner, corrosion. Guard your car with Prestone 2, winter's summer protection. Only Prestone 2 has a patented silicone silicate formula. The Prestone inhibitor system shields and preserves metal against rust and corrosion. Protect against freeze-up, boil-up, and corrosion with Prestone 2. If you can't trust Prestone, who can you trust?
I'm Jimmy the Greek, and if you're shaving with Edge, you're a winner. Based on men who made a choice, my odds are 5-2 you shave closer with Edge gel than with any plain foam going. Why? Gel makes the difference. Gel lubricates first, then turns to foam. You shave really close because there's much less gamble on nicks and cuts. Long shots are fun in sports, but for a close shave, go with my favorite, Edge.
Tom Seaver will pitch to that lineup. Rose leading off at left, Morgan at second, Greason at third, Perez batting cleanup at first, Johnny Bench catching, hitting fifth, Ken Griffey in right field batting sixth, Geronimo in center field hitting seventh, Cheney the shortstop batting eighth, and Billingham batting ninth. Pete Rose won his 3rd National League batting title this year. He led the major leagues in base hits with 230. And Seaver's first pitch is a strike to fastball. Now, as we said, maybe the key to this series will be Tom Seaver's right arm. How is it? The still's tender. Will he have his good stuff? He'll need it. It's a pop-up. Third baseman Garrett, foul ground, 1 down.
Kurt, the first 2 pitches Seaver threw, he popped pretty good, it appeared. The first one, Rose flinching on. The second one, a little late on, up and in with that fastball. He's got that kind of fastball with a bright sun again now, which has just come out as Seaver took the mound. A bad background. Seaver's going to be overpowering if he has that kind of background.
Joe Morgan hitting .290 for the year. Would you believe he hit more home runs than Johnny Bench, little Joe Morgan? He had 26, and he knocked in 82 runs, and he stole 67 bases. Another great year for him. Curve is a ball. 1-0 to Joe Morgan. I asked John Bench before the game, if Seaver is not right, how can you tell early? And he said if he's not going to his fastball. There's his fastball, and it's high ball, too. But he had something on that. That pitch was taking off. 2 balls, no strikes. Seaver's earned run average was below 2 until he had the arm trouble in the last 2 weeks. He wound up with a 2.08 earned run average. Fastball for a strike, 2-1. Seaver drives off the mound. He doesn't drop his right foot into a hole. He keeps it on the rubber and drives off right at you. Another pop-up to Garrett. They're not getting around on Seaver so far. Looking up in that sun. 2 down. Watch him drive off the rubber, Tony.
He has a very low push-off and follow-through. He pivots and actually pushes off the side of the rubber. He has good coordination and balance. Watch this drive and that low right knee. Remind you of Robin Roberts, if you recall. Almost touching the ground, and he throws a lot with his body, Kurt, trying to take some of that strain off his arm.
He's driving right at the batter with his stride, coming right at you, every ounce in his body behind the pitch. Dan Dreesen, strong candidate for Rookie of the Year in the National League's up. 1 strike to him. Dreesen hit .301, 4 homers, 46 RBIs. Brought up to Cincinnati in early June from their farm club in Indianapolis. Bounding ball to right. Scooping it up as Meehan throws him out. It's an easy 1-2-3 inning for Tom. Into the first inning, 0-0.
The Chrysler has always been designed to provide a special kind of comfort for driver and passenger. Today, that tradition continues. In the 1974 Chrysler New Yorker, in the comfort of knowing it's an automobile advanced in engineering. In the comfort of knowing there's an electronic ignition system, virtually maintenance-free. In the comfort of knowing the passenger compartment may be optionally cooled from 8 separate outlets. And in the comfort of knowing this is designed to be the quietest, most beautiful Chrysler ever built. The Chrysler has always been designed to provide a special kind of comfort for driver and passenger. 1974 Chrysler New Yorker, a totally new expression of an idea that has never changed.
Final again, and the line score of the first game of the American League playoffs. Jim Palmer, superb, 5-hit shutout. Didn't get his exact strikeouts. We were busy up here in the booth. I think at least 12 he had. I know he struck out 6 the first 2 innings. So Baltimore goes 1 up in Oakland. Right here we're in the 2nd inning, and 31 years old today is Jerry Grody. Now at the bat, Grody hitting .256 for the season, 1 homer, 32 runs batted in. Grody, Hahn, and Harrelson for the Mets. Top of the 2nd. They're playing Grody to hit to right. Goes after the curve. Grody's an underrated catcher, I think, Tony, in some quarters. Good arm. He's a very good catcher defensively. Ball 1-1.
Kurt and Yogi will be the one to tell you how important he's been. Statistics don't tell his true value. He's thrown out base runners. He's gotten a lot of big hits, and he's played well defensively since coming off the injured list.
2-1. I want you fans, and Tony will tell you, to study this pitch coming in, this next pitch. Out of that bright sunshine with the sun hitting the background, coming into the shadows. The trouble is, you can see the ball, but it's the spin of the ball that you have trouble discerning.
Kurt, bad pitches, hanging curveballs can become effective on days like this because you lose it. The ball is dark. It's difficult to tell changes of speeds, and you cannot see the rotation by the seams.
He lifts the 3-1 pitch into center field. Geronimo puts it away, and we have 1 down. Don Hahn will be the next batter for the Mets. His average is .229, 2 homers, 21 RBIs. Lives in Campbell, California. 24 years old. He was a San Francisco Giants 17-round draft pick. June of '66, a free agent draft. Well, he began in a Giant organization, and he fouls it back for strike 1. 1 out. The Mets and the Reds scoreless. Top of the 2nd inning. Hahn is being played to the opposite field also. Both clubs have been thoroughly scouted. Strike. You might say, why do they scout them? They know them. They play against each other. Well, they're looking for late season development. Some player get hot. Some player go in a slump. Injuries. Sort of a last medical checkup before a playoff or a World Series. Players may develop bad habits during the year. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Don Hahn.
Kurt, if I were a pitcher, I would want to know which hitters closed the season on a hot note, which were cold. Have they changed their hitting pattern? Are they hitting late a little bit more than they used to? And you can pitch accordingly. You can pitch around hot hitters in critical situations if you know who's swinging a good bat.
Swinging a good bat, Don Hahn has no power to speak of. He swings hard right from the heels, but he doesn't usually hit the long ball. He's out on the outside corner with a called strike. 2 down, nobody on. And Bud Harrelson coming up. Harrelson missed 8 weeks of the season. And, of course, when he came back, Staub, Jones, all of them got together. They put it on then. Bud Harrelson, outstanding shortstop of the New York Mets, .258 hitter, no homers, 20 RBIs. He improved his average the last month of the year, hitting a respectable .287 in his last 31 games. They're straight away for him.
Really playing shallow.
Yeah, he's in shallow. Ball 1. The Mets don't have the team speed that the Reds do. Mets were 11th in the National League in stolen bases. The Reds were 1st.
Kurt, the true value of a Bud Harrelson cannot be measured by statistics. Those of you who recall that in the 1969 playoff series, championship series, World Series, he was brilliant in the field, and the pitchers on the Mets staff will tell you, and of course they're prejudiced, that this is the best defensive player in the National League, maybe in baseball at his position. He'll cut those runs and base hits off.
1 ball, no strikes to Bud Harrelson. 2 out, nobody on. Inside, 2-0. The on-deck batter is the pitcher, Tom Seaver. Three and nothing. Billingham's behind him. Billingham led the National League in shutouts this year with 7. And he tied Steve Carlton for the most innings pitched, 293. And Jerry Royce for the most starts, 40. Workhorse of the staff. He walks Harrelson. That's the second walk given up by Billingham.
Here's a man coming to the plate right now who can help himself at the plate. He's gotten a couple of key hits during the course of this season that have helped him win ball games. He's a good athlete.
Tom Seaver's father, Charlie Seaver, is looking in undoubtedly out at Fresno, California. Ball 1. Charlie was a Walker Cup golfer. He's a top athlete himself. Tom says, "Tell my dad I'll come to the plate with a handful of raisins." His father works for a raisin manufacturing company in Fresno. It's a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 outs for the Mets. Harrelson at first. 0-0 is the score in the top of the second. Fouls it away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Let's take a look at the coaches for the New York Mets. Eddie Yost, the walking man when he was with the Washington Senators, coaching at third. Roy McMillan, a brilliant defensive infielder, is coaching at first. Texas boy. There's a fly ball. That may drop in. It does. It's going to the fence. It's going to score Bud Harrelson. And the Mets take the lead 1-0 on Tom Seaver's double to left center.
Appeared to be a breaking ball that hung high and inside. Seaver just tomahawked it. A big bad pitch out of the strike zone, and with the speed that Harrelson has and a good jump off first, he scored.
So the bottom of the order hurt Billingham. He walked the number 8 batter with 2 down, nobody on, and then gave up a double to Tom Seaver. And the Mets grabbed the lead. 2 down, that's right, Tom.
They're the Cincinnati Mets wives, I believe. Pretty jovial at this time. Traveled along with the club to Cincinnati.
Seaver's at second, 2 outs. Top of the order, Garrett up. Garrett hits a slow bounder to first to Perez. Easy play. The Mets are retired. 1 run, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left. At the end of an inning and a half, Mets 1, the Reds nothing.
Well, 167 would kill.
Yeah. Hey, look at that Black & Decker drill. What do you think a thing like that would cost?
Oh, $12 at least.
Wait, that's the big one. That's a 3/8 inch.
Gotta be $15.
Charlie, think. That's a Black & Decker.
Yeah, $20 easy.
$9.99?
Believe it or not, Black & Decker 3/8-inch drills start at $9.99.
It's smaller than a wallet and weighs about the same, 3.5 ounces. Introducing the new Kodak Pocket Instamatic 10 camera. You can cover it with your hand, but not the big, sharp pictures it takes. The new Pocket 10 is the littlest, lightest Kodak Pocket camera. It's also the lowest priced, less than $23. The new Pocket 10 at your photo dealer. The littlest Kodak Pocket Instamatic camera that takes big pictures.
The bull, symbol of strength and confidence. Today, signature of a company, Merrill Lynch. Total assets, $3.6 billion. Net worth, $449 million. Securities held for customers, over $20 billion worth. Merrill Lynch, strong, solid, substantial, developing new investment ideas. Merrill Lynch, 29 ways to help you share in America's growth.
Last of the second inning, Tony Perez, Johnny Bench, and Ken Griffey will be up. When the Reds put Perez in the cleanup spot, they started to move. He had a big last half of the year. Wound up hitting .314, 101 RBIs, and 27 homers. Tom Seaver's pitch is a breaking delivery for a strike. Perez finished 4th in the National League with a batting average and 6th in RBIs. Fastball is fouled off. No balls and 2 strikes to Tony Perez. Perez, remember Tony in 1970, had the hot first half of the season, then tailed off. And this year, it's the last half of the season where he came on.
He's become a good average hitter, as indicated by those stats you saw a moment ago.
Breaking pitch is hit to Garrett at third. Garrett throws him out. Garrett to Milner. We have one away in the last of the second. Johnny Bench up. Bench had what they call here in Cincinnati an off year and still knocked in 104 runs. Batting average of .253 and 25 homers.
Kearney was a pretty happy man during batting practice. I spoke to him after the Cincinnati Reds finished taking their hitting practice, and he said this is the first time in several weeks that he's hit the ball hard even in batting practice.
Foul ball, strike one.
Said he felt a little more aggressive, was going out after the baseball.
Tom Seaver has retired the first 4 batters he's faced. As we said, he was not sharp in 3 of his last 4 starts, bothered by tendonitis. Pitch, oh, he had something on that ball. Zoo. Whoosh. No balls, 2 strikes. Seaver led the National League in strikeouts this year, the 3rd time in the last 4 years. Fastball again is hit in the right center. Bench is coming for 2. The throw by Hahn, not in time.
Curtis, first base umpire Ed Vargo is lingering around the first base bag somewhat long, and I saw Jerry Grody just take a trot down there. I'm wondering if they don't feel that Johnny Bench may have missed the first base bag. He cut the bag very quickly, may have been off stride. I don't know if Grody's going to ask for an appeal play down to Ed Vargo or not.
Here's another of the young players that the Reds brought up that have helped them to their Western Division championship. Ken Griffey, who led the American Association in stolen bases. He can fly. And now they're trying to dance around and get Bench back. Griffey hit .384 in 86 times at bat with the Reds. Ball 1 to him. He's hit. He's hit now.
Hit him on the right leg, Kurt. He appeared to be taking all the way. The Seaver breaking pitch inside surprised him, but the Reds have got something going.
Well, the Reds have runners on first and second. 1 out. The Mets are leading 1-0. Cesar Geronimo's up. Seaver's had trouble with the Reds in his National League career. Geronimo, a .210 batter. Inside for a ball. This year, Seaver no wins, 2 losses against Cincinnati.
Kurt Griffey down on first base has tremendous speed, and with Milner playing behind him with men on first and second, he'll get a good jump to break up a possible double play at second.
Right by him, a fastball, 1-1. Seaver lost to Jack Billingham here in Cincinnati, 2-1. The game went 1 hour and 37 minutes. 1 hour and 37 minutes. Billingham beating Seaver. Cheney, the shortstop's on deck. Fastball again. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Cesar Geronimo.
Kurt, Seaver is throwing small baseballs right now. His ball is just exploding.
Bench at second, Griffey at first. 1 out. Struck him out. The ball sort of tailed. I think he turned it over a little bit, and it tailed away from the left-hander.
Throws that fastball across the seams. That'll rise, and then he'll go with the seams and turn it over a little bit, and it really sinks and runs away from the left-handed hitters.
Darrell Cheney, he's the weakest hitter in the Cincinnati lineup, batting 181. No homers, 14 RBIs. The Reds won despite losing their shortstop, Concepcion, who was having a tremendous season. Broke his ankle in July, and of course, he's through for the year. 1 strike to Cheney. Been working out, starting to jog again now. He'll be back next spring. Strike 2, no balls, 2 strikes to Darrell Cheney.
Kurt, if Seaver has stiffness in his shoulder, as he has complained of in the past 4 starts, and is not showing now, it remains to be seen when he gets to that 6th, 7th inning, if the effects of 290 innings this year and a lot of innings in the past 5 will affect him.
Struck him out on 3 pitches. Seaver went to work and blew Geronimo and Cheney out of there. No runs for the Reds, 1 hit, no errors, 2 left. At the end of 2, the Mets won, the Reds nothing.
If you bought your home years ago and watched it increase in value, but you didn't increase the value of your insurance coverage, Continental Insurance would like to paint you a picture of just how poorly you're covered. In 14 years, building costs have doubled. That means the same coverage that once was enough to rebuild all of your home now is enough to rebuild only half. When was the last time you looked at your insurance? You'll find a helpful Continental agent in the Yellow Pages.
I want you to try something special. Sir Walter Raleigh Special Mixture. It's a premium blend of rich Kentucky burleys, aged in soft wooden barrels, and specially cut for smooth smoking. You've never smoked mellower. Sir Walter Raleigh, regular, aromatic, and special mixture. 3 great pipe tobaccos in the quality tradition of Sir Walter Raleigh.
Tomorrow on NBC, we'll have a football-baseball doubleheader beginning at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. We'll present NFL football. There are the lineup of games. Check your listing, the time in your local area. Baltimore, New England, Cincinnati, Cleveland, the Jets at Miami, San Diego at Pittsburgh, Oakland and St. Louis, Denver at Kansas City. Then we'll come to Cincinnati for Game 2 of the National League Championship Series between the Reds and the Mets. Tomorrow, John Matlack is pitching for the Mets, and Don Gullett will be going for the Reds, 2 left-handers. They're the 2 managers, Anderson and Berra. 3rd inning, Felix Millan way up on that bat handle again. The pitch is outside to him for a ball. Millan had 185 hits in the 1973 season. That's a new Met record. He hits a ground ball to Joe Morgan at second. Up with it in time, 1 down. Millan sacrificed his first time up. Rusty Staub, Wack. Rusty playing at Houston, Montreal, now with the Mets, is in his first postseason series, and he's thrilled about it. Rusty finished the season with a 15-game batting streak. What do they call him up in Montreal?
Orange.
L'Orange.
The old redhead.
The orange one. Ball 1 to Rusty Staub. Mets ahead 1-0. They have 1 out, nobody on in the top of the 3rd. There's a drive in the deep left center. Rose going back, giving way to Geronimo, who scissors across him and takes it. Staub hit that one a long way to the opposite field.
This ballpark is not a good home run park. The ball does not carry well here from the 375 right center mark to left center 375. You've got to hit it down the lines to carry. Pete Rose tells me there are some wind currents that swirl around, even in this completely enclosed park, that prevent balls from going out in right and left center.
Well, the proof of the matter is the Reds hit better on the road than they did at home. And they're, of course, used to this park and hitting here. Reds hit 243 at home and 263 on the road. Ball one, strike one to John Milner, who singled his first time up. The strategy, pitching-wise, of the Reds was to stop Milner, Staub, and Jones. They figure the rest of the lineup won't damage him much. 1 ball, 2 strikes. They know that Milner's been in a slump, but he's the batter they fear most because he can hit the long ball.
Fred, I think you'd have to say the key men offensively, Milner and Bench, for these two teams who have been in slumps.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Milner. With 2 out, the base is empty. Curveball fouled away. 2-2. Billingham with a slider, sinker, breaking stuff. Magnificent in the World Series last year. The A's had trouble scoring on him. And he has good control. 2-2 pitch. 3-2. He averaged 2.9 walks every 9 innings. Today he's already walked 2, and he's 3-2 to Milner. Fouls the curve again. 3-2 to John Milner, who looks like the power man of the future for the Mets in his young 20s. Three-two pitch. Ball 4. That's the 3rd walk given up by Billingham. Would you say, Tony, the playoffs present even more pressure to these players in the World Series?
No doubt about it. From a strictly economic viewpoint, it puts a lot more pressure on these players because there's a lot at stake. If you can get into the World Series by winning this championship series, you're guaranteed, I believe, $15,000 loser's share, and I think $20,000 winner's share.
Ball one. In other words, winning the playoffs guarantees you some big money.
That's right.
Win or lose in the World Series. 1 ball, no strikes to Cleon Jones, who wrapped into a double play with the bases loaded in the 1st inning. Looks at that fastball for a strike. 1-1.
Plus, Kurt, both of these teams have just come off 162 rough, tough games, 2 pennant races, and they've got a chance to mess it up all right here if they lose 3 out of 5.
Curve is fouled back. I believe Billingham's breaking pitch is his best pitch so far.
He has that good sinker ball, but he appeared earlier to be getting it up in the strike zone. He's a ground ball pitcher, keeping the ball low.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Cleon Jones. John Milner at first, 2 down. 3rd inning. Strike 3 on the curveball. 2nd strikeout for Billingham. No runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left. At the end of 2.5, 1-0 New York.
The girls are working out for the game of the year, waiting on the car that was bringing the gear. Plymouth Duster, 74. You can get yourself this flip-down seat that holds equipment nice and neat in a carpeted locker room 6.5 feet long. And you can get this roof opens easy, too. Cranks right shut when you don't like the view. 74 Plymouth Duster. A lot of car for the money again.
Once I thought Dow Corning bathtub caulk was only good for my tub. And I found I could fix all kinds of things with it. I sealed that vent up there. Skid-proofed my knife sharpener. Fixed the bulb, my battery tester. Dow Corning bathtub caulk comes in 6 beautiful, long-lasting, rubbery colors. And because it's silicone rubber, it fixes things no ordinary caulk can.
Cincinnati manager Sparky Anderson, before the game, we asked him for a capsule summation of his team going into this championship series.
Tony, this is a very healthy ball club right now. It's at full strength. I think our hitting right now is at its peak. I think our defense is the best I've seen it in a long time. And I feel our pitching is the first time we've come into a playoff where we don't have any excuses about our pitching. And I don't know what I'm going to have to talk about in this series, because that was a good excuse I always had.
Sparky Anderson, who is now in his third playoff in the last 4 years, has Billingham up at the plate for him, the pitcher, a weak hitter, batting .065. One man is missing. Sad to see that empty locker in the Cincinnati dressing room. Foul ball. Bobby Tolan, who finally was put on the inactive list by the Reds. And one of the reasons they said was lack of interest by Tolan. We talked to Sparky Anderson about it, and he said, I think Tolan got frustrated this year. His pride was hurt, and he just got all mixed up. He was a star here 2 years ago with his club. Billingham waving for the third strikeout in a row by Tom Seaver. And up now is Pete Rose. He fouled out his first time up. We're at the top of the Red batting order. Probably the Reds have the two best table setters in the business in Rose and Morgan to get on base and set things up for your big boys in the middle of the lineup. Mets are ahead 1-0. Curve is hit in the air to left field. Play on Jones. It's slightly overcast now, and he doesn't have that bright sun to look up into. 2 down. Joe Morgan has popped it. You've got a great chance to beat the Reds when you keep Rose and Morgan off the bases. So far, Seaver's done that.
Here, we've talked during the course of this telecast so far about some of the problems the Mets have had. Cincinnati has not been without problems during the year when you figure that Gary Nolan, who was counted on to be one of their starters, Roger Nelson did not pitch too much. Bobby Tolan, his loss was a big one, and a shaky bullpen during the first part of the season.
Joe Morgan looks at that breaking pitch for strike one. Dave Concepcion, they lost their regular shortstop, as we said. They had their problems. All clubs have problems. Injuries are a part of the long season. High and inside that time. I believe he took something off his fastball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Terrific Tom has checked the Reds on 1 hit so far. The Reds have 2 out, nobody on. They're playing Morgan as a pull hitter to right. 2-1. You've seen the game of the week many times where we showed Morgan with his little chicken wing flap. You can see that his defensive setup. Watch him now flap that left elbow. And he hits that one in the air to right field. Rusty Staub moving in. Oh, he wanted to be sure on that one. 1, 2, 3. The Reds go out in the third. At the end of 3, it's New York 1, Cincinnati 0.
Perhaps once or twice in a lifetime, there comes an invention so radical and new, it actually changes the way we live our lives. Television was one. Now Polaroid invents the SX70. Less than 2 seconds after you touch the red electric button, the camera hands you the picture. There's nothing to peel, nothing even to throw away, nothing to time. The image blooms before your eyes, and in minutes you have a finished photograph seemingly as real as life itself. The new SX70 land camera from Polaroid. It can reveal the world to you as you've never seen it before.
25.
And now a program note from NBC. How to get a 70-year-old man hired as a department store office boy is a problem facing Diana Rigg when she stars in the next episode of Diana. Monday night, 8:30 Eastern Time, right here on NBC. 4th inning. Billingham's pitch to Jerry Grody. Ball 1. Grody flied out his first time. He'll be followed by Don Hahn and Bud Harrelson. They're playing Grody to the opposite field. ball two. I'm surprised the Reds are playing 3 or 4 of these Met batters so much around the right-handers, Tony.
Kurt, I think Billingham is shooting for that outside part of the plate with that breaking pitch and the sinker ball, and the Mets, Cincinnati anyway, feels are going to be trying to hit to the opposite field to take advantage or try and hit that sinker ball.
Billingham's behind him 3-0. He's already walked 3 in the game. Right in there, 3-1. He joined us late. The Mets scored in the second with 2 down. Harrelson walked. Seaver doubled him home. That came after 2 out, nobody on. Bounding ball to shortstop. Charged by Cheney. 1 down. Don Hahn took a call, 3rd strike his first time. Billingham's style is mostly to hit that outside of the plate. Seaver moves the ball in and out more. That one's punched to right fielder Griffey. He has it. 2 down. Hahn lines to right.
Curtin, mentioning what you just did a moment ago with Grody up, how they were playing, I think that's where a big change is taking part in baseball. The scientific nature of defenses. They'll pitch a player a certain way, and of course the defense will play that way and take a lot of base hits away.
Bud Harrelson walked his first time. Remember the night we had Satchel Paige on with us?
Yeah.
And we asked him, what's the secret of pitching? And he says, keep the ball on the outside of the plate. If they hit it, they're not going to pull it and hit you for the long ball as much. And Bob Gibson was talking. We rode over with Bob in a cab today about that. He says, pitch outside as much as you can. 1 ball, no strikes to Bud Harrelson. 2 out, nobody on. The Mets 1, the Reds nothing. 4th inning. That's into him. 1-1.
What a lot of successful pitchers do is they'll shoot at that outside part of their play with their breaking ball and fastball, but keep the hitters honest inside, most of the times out of the strike zone.
Big hopper to Joe Morgan. 1, 2, 3 innings for Billingham. At the end of 3.5, New York Mets 1, Cincinnati Reds nothing.
Watch Johnny Bench go to bat for a better way to shave.
I've always liked the convenience of electrics, but none of them I tried got close enough. Until the Schick Flexomatic. Look at that. Look at all that beard. This Schick Flexomatic gets closer than any electric I've tried.
Johnny's right. It feels blade close because the head is super thin, and comfortable because it flexes.
Yeah, it even feels smooth under here. You ought to get the Schick Flexomatic and find out how close an electric can shave.
Today's jets depend on the air traffic controller. He depends on critical devices, some with works in a drawer. Here's another device, the solid-state works-in-a-drawer Quasar Color TV, shown with simulated TV picture. Lives don't depend on it, but you rely on it for a beautiful color picture. Look for the works-in-a-drawer TV, Quasar by Motorola. See this World Series special at participating Motorola dealers. $399.95, Motorola suggested list price, optional with dealer.
The World Series will open a week from today in the American League City. If it opens in Baltimore, it'll be on at 1:30 Eastern Daylight Time. If it opens in Oakland, it'll be 3:30 Eastern Daylight Time. During the week, the weekdays, we'll have 3 night games in the middle 3 games. And preceding all of our World Series telecasts, we'll present the baseball world of Joe Garagiola. On his first show, Joe will visit with Hank Aaron, who also has the honor of throwing out the first ball of World Series game number 1. Dan Dreesen is up for the Reds in the last of the 4th. He grounded out his first time. Seaver starts him with a breaking pitch, high and away. Dreesen has had trouble with the Mets. 1 hit in 23 times this year. The only club he hasn't hit. Fly ball into left field. Moving over is Jones. Coming on. And a drop. Harrelson whirls it back in. Drop between Harrelson and Jones.
Kurt, I'm not certain, but I think Jones may have had the first kind of trouble. Look at the sun glaring off his glasses. He knew Buddy Harrelson was coming on strong. He went a long way. Buddy didn't hear him, so he kept going. The ball just skittering off the edge of his glove. But I think that Cleon momentarily may have lost the ball in that rough sun, this left field park. There you can see the shadows.
Oh, the pop fly double to left by Dreesen. First time the Reds have had a leadoff batter on in an inning. And Tony Perez is up. Standing room only crowd of 52,000 here today. What a baseball city this has been the last couple of years. Tony Perez grounded out in the second inning. Strike one, a fastball. The Mets are leading 1-0. And now the Reds are threatening in the last of the fourth. Perez has been a big RBI man for this club. Fastball by him again, 0-2.
Tony trying to go to the opposite field to get Dreesen to third base.
That's the third baseman, Wayne Garrett, playing wide of the bag. There's a fly ball to right. Tagging is Dreesen at second, but he's not coming as Staub puts it away. One down. Perez was trying to get that man over by hitting to right field, but he couldn't do it. Johnny Bench doubled to right center his first time.
And here's a man, and talking to Tom Seaver before the workout yesterday, said in any clutch situation he's going to pitch around Johnny Bench. Said I don't fear him, he said, but if I have an opportunity to in a tough situation, I'm going to pitch very carefully. You can see Seaver right then look over to the on-deck circle. Who's the next hitter?
They're deep and straight away for Johnny Bench. Dan Dreesen at second, one out. High, hard one for strike one. Yogi Berra was concerned not only about the blackout that keep bluffing around at second. Yogi Berra said, somebody bring me in the halftime score of the University of Massachusetts. He has a son playing there. He's a very good wide receiver. Strike two, 0-2. Tim Berra. And Yogi says he's a professional football prospect. No balls, 2 strikes. Boy, he got him. That's the way Jim Palmer was throwing today in the first couple innings. That rising fastball. 2 down, 4 strikeouts for Tom Seaver. Dan Dreesen to second base, and Ken Griffey is up now. Griffey, born in Donora, Pennsylvania. Another baseball player came out of that town that honored the major leagues. A long and brilliant career. What do they used to call him? The Donora Greyhound. Stan Musial from Donora, Pennsylvania. Ken Griffey was hit by a pitch ball. A strike. I was talking to Pete Rose there around the batting cage, and he said, Kurt, watch this fella carefully. He's young now, but he sort of reminds you of Wes Covington. He can hit with power to all fields, and he can run faster than Covington. And you never know, he was the 29th selection in the '69 free agent draft. He wasn't rated real high, but he's going to be a ball player here. 1 ball, 1 strike to Ken Griffey. It's high ball to how that farm system helps when you can pluck 1 or 2 out every year and plug up a weak spot, overcome an injury by getting the kid out of your farm system to catch fire for you. 2 balls and a strike. Fastball by him, 2-2 to Griffey. 2 down, the Mets are ahead 1-0, last of the 4th inning.
I think watching Seaver's delivery is very interesting. When he perches on that right foot, he's almost hanging in the air until he makes that thrust toward home plate. Watch him.
That's a good word, thrust, driving right at the batter. Seaver struck him out. No run, 1 hit. Dreesen led off with a double, was stranded. No errors, 1 left. At the end of 4, 1-0 Mets.
How do you start the school year? Start it comfortably with a new look of cotton corduroy in jeans and jackets by Landlubber. Great for comfort. Cotton breathes, moves with you. Great for looks, the new cotton corduroys. 100% cotton. For style, for school, for fall. Comfortable cotton. It's a natural wonder.
This is the 1974 Plymouth Fury. Proof a tough, reliable family car doesn't have to be dull. With a tough V8 engine pre-tested electronically. That's beautiful. A tough electronic ignition that works no matter how wet the weather. And that's beautiful. The 1974 Plymouth Fury. Tough it is, dull it isn't.
Yes, Plymouth Tough is Plymouth
Hi, I'm Johnny Bench. Of course I love to play baseball. That's why I chose the profession. Baseball is a healthy game full of fun and excitement. It also has its fringe benefits. A player doesn't last forever, and baseball has helped secure my future by giving me an opportunity to be involved in business ventures and to have my own syndicated television show. Baseball is a great career.
The preceding announcement was made on behalf of Major League Baseball. Let's watch again Tom Seaver on the last pitch thrown to strike out Ken Griffey. In a mini clinic that we filmed early this spring with Tom, he did one of the best analyses of pitching fundamentals that I've seen. At a high knee kick. Now that low follow-through, you can see all the effort behind it. Look at that follow-through position. In the event the ball is hit directly back at him, he puts it all together, doesn't he, Kurt?
There's Bob Hausum in the check jacket. What a job he's done as president of the Cincinnati Reds. This isn't the biggest city by far in the major leagues, yet they drew over 2 million fans this year. Warren Giles in back of him, former National League president. Warren Giles used to be the general manager of the Cincinnati Reds, but ball one. I can't, this is just a report on Hausum and his top aide, Dick Wagner. They don't leave a detail undone here. I've never seen such efficiency. 1 ball, 1 strike. And our Commissioner Bowie Kuhn here today, and Mrs. Kuhn eating those peanuts. 1-1 delivery. Seaver throwing around 1-2. Seaver's knocked in the only run. He doubled in the second, driving in Bud Harrelson from first base with 2 down. And that's it. The Mets are leading 1-0 in the 5th inning. Seaver may have drilled that double to left center, but they're still playing him to hit to right field. Center fielder Geronimo over in right center, and Griffey shading the right field line. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Struck him out on a curveball. 1 down. Dillingham appears to be settling down. He's retired 5 in a row. He's given up just 3 hits, Seaver 2 hits. And they're staging a replica of that 2-1 pitching duel they had earlier in the summer, where Dillingham won that one in 1 hour and 37 minutes. That was on August 20th. I checked, that was earlier than that. The Reds beat the Mets this year 8 out of the 12 times, 4-2 in each park in favor of Cincinnati. Wayne Garrett, single and grounded out. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
WNBC TV, New York.
Sharply hit ball to Joe Morgan, who makes the play, and they're 2 down. In the top of the 5th inning, this is Kurt Gowdy and Tony Kubek from Cincinnati.
Man at second base in your picture now, making the play on the 1-hop line drive, just getting in front of it. He's going to garner some votes for the most valuable player in the National League, along with Pete Rose, Tony Perez from this team, Willie Stargell, the Pirates. He can hurt you in a lot of ways, that man. Stealing bases with power.
Meehan sacrificed, grounded out. He usually gets a piece of the ball. He struck out only 22 times this season. Ball 1 to him. 2 down, nobody on. The Mets are leading 1-0. Top of the 5th inning.
I don't know who chokes up more. I guess Ron Hunt chokes up a lot, but not quite that.
Fastball's good. 1 ball, 1 strike to Meehan.
He almost has more of the bat beneath his hands than above it.
I was about to say, you had to reverse it around. 1 ball, 1 strike. That makes the count 2-1. And for late tuners in, Baltimore's Jim Palmer pitched a 5-hit shutout. Baltimore beat Oakland 6-0 at Baltimore today in the first game of the American League Championship Series. Tomorrow you'll watch a pro football, Major League Baseball doubleheader. There's a fly ball in the left field. Rose backing up. Sides out. No runs, no hits, no errors. Nobody left. We've gone halfway. The New York Mets 1 and the Cincinnati Reds nothing.
Oh, there's nobody else in the whole human race with your kind of style
and your kind of grace.
Everybody's different. That's why Equitable has many different policies, term and permanent,
with many options.
so your life insurance fits your needs.
There's nobody else exactly like you.
Nobody else like you. Nobody else like you.
Honey, what are you doing?
Plugging in my electric shaver.
What are you doing now?
Drying my beard with electric shave.
It looks like you're wetting your beard with electric shave.
The special ingredients in electric shave dry my beard so it stands up and I can shave it off with less friction.
Oh.
And if you don't mind my saying so, less irritation.
Oh.
To get a really close, comfortable electric shave, get a really dry beard. Wet it first with
Electric shave!
Yogi Berra, the manager of the New York Mets, had some comments before the ball game about his team going into this championship series.
Well, the last month, Tony, I got to say, Garrett's done a tremendous job. Jonesy's done a good job. Bud House and Jerry Grody. My main man is not hitting is John Milner, and I just hope he could get started here because he's our home run threat.
Yogi Berra size up of his ball club. They're running polls in New York City to see if they should fire Yogi in July. Geronimo struck out his first time. That's a strike. That reminds me of the famous time that they fired Bing Devine as general manager, and Johnny Keane was supposed to be out, and the Cardinals rallied and won the pennant against the club you played on, the Yankees.
Right.
Base hit by Geronimo to right field. Each team now has 3 hits.
Karen, this is the time in the ball game where Tom Seaver, if the effects of 290 innings and that stiffness in his shoulder are going to tell.
Well, the Reds led off with a double in the 4th but couldn't score. Now they have Geronimo at first. Darrell Cheney's up. He struck out his first time. They're playing in tight at 3rd. Wayne Garrett, Milner's ready to charge from first. They had him going for it. Strike 1 to Darrell Cheney. Billingham, the pitchers, on deck. Mets are leading 1-0, last of the 5th inning.
Geronimo has stolen just 1 base during the course of the year, but he has better speed than that. See if Sparky puts a play on.
Fastball buzzes through. No balls, 2 strikes to Cheney. Seaver has struck out 5 so far. No walks. He's hit a batter.
I'm going to correct myself on that, Kurt. He's stolen 1 base against the Mets. He's 5 in 10 attempts on the season.
Cheney's gone. Seaver has just overpowered him on 6 pitches. Strikeout number 6 for Tom Seaver. Seaver led the National League with the lowest earned run average, 2.08. And to show you his greatness, that's the 3rd earned run average title he's copped in the last 4 years. He's won the strikeout crown 3 of the last 4 years. You know, the Reds make no bones about it. They say Seaver's the best pitcher in the National League. Every player in the team. 1 out. Ball 1, Billingham squaring away. Billingham struck out his first time. You have Rose on deck. The Mets are defensing against the bunt. They'll have everybody moving, charging at the corners, pitcher charging, catcher going out, shortstop covering second, second covering first, and the outfielders on the move to back up. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Kurt, the Reds have said that Seaver might be the best pitcher in baseball in the National League, but they also say that they do not have the best pitching staff. They feel they have the best pitching staff in the National League.
Tried to bunt and missed. 1 ball, 2 strikes. You're going to get some arguments over the American League around Baltimore. They think Jim Palmer's the best.
Yeah. Oakland's got a few.
Let's just say I like
Catfish.
that. Would you like to have both Seaver Hunter and Palmer on your staff?
Would you throw Nolan Ryan in for me, too?
1 ball, 2 strikes. And he bunts on the 3rd strike. Miller makes the play to Meehan, a sacrifice for Billingham. So that sets it up for Pete Rose. So far, Seaver handled Rose on a pop-up and a fly ball.
He's had him swinging late, both times to the left side.
Pete Rose is now a 10-year player with the Reds. It means that he can't be traded without his consent. Born and reared in this town, he wants to wind it up here. His father taught him how to switch hit, and he has been Cincinnati Reds all the way since he was a little boy. He's hit over 300 his last 9 years. A strike to him. He attended Western Hills High School here in Cincinnati, where he was a teammate of Ed Brinkman, who now is the Detroit Tigers shortstop. 1 ball, no strikes. Foul back, 1-1. The Mets are leading 1-0, last of the 5th inning. Geronimo's on second, 2 down for the Reds. On deck, Joe Morgan.
Kurt, day in, day out, there's nobody in baseball that plays harder than Pete Rose, and I don't know of anybody more exciting. His antics on the base pass and his hard style of play.
Fouls it back. Let's take a look again at our center field camera, if we can, and see how far he stands back from the plate. But he strides toward the plate and toward the pitch. And he says he covers the outside of the plate very well. So they think I can. He also hits out of a severe crouch. Watch him now. Way back and crouches. The 1-2 pitch. 2-2. They can't jam him. He's so far back. He can handle those inside pitches. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Geronimo at second. He hits better left-handed than he does right-handed by a wide margin. Oh, he had ideas of reaching. Count goes to 3-2.
And Seaver thought he had the pitch. Thought it caught the outside part of the plate. He turned that one over, Kurt. It really ran away from Rose.
Three and 2 pitch. Strike 3. Rose is caught looking. 3 times in a row, Seaver has nailed Rose. No runs, a hit, no errors, 1 left. At the end of 5, 1-0 Mets.
Today, your car engine's greatest enemy is heat. Because today there's more equipment. Emission controls, power steering, air conditioners, automatic transmissions. All cause heat that may rob your motor oil of its full power to protect your engine. For your peace of mind, Quaker State urges you to change your oil as soon as your owner's manual says to. And use only a premium oil made for today's heat. For your peace of mind, specify Quaker State.
Man, watch Joe Willie.
Get creamed again.
Let Noxzema cream your face so the razor won't. Woo!
The closer you shave, the more you need creamy, soothing, medicated Noxzema.
Let Noxzema cream your face so the razor don't.
No wonder I've got weak knees.
Whew!
We pause now for station identification.
A tragic plane crash threatens to make a small child an orphan. On Emergency tonight.
Across the high Smoky Mountain, across the deep valley green, your trail in the sun, yeah, your trail in the sun, to a thirst for more than one. Schaefer is the one beer to have when you're having more than one.
Dick Schaap with sports tonight at 11.
We're in the 6th inning now at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. Here you see an umpire at third and an umpire, Bruce Fromming, down the right field line. We have 6 umpires in the game. And Billingham's first pitch to Rusty Staub is ball 1. Staub has walked and flied out. That's hit sharply to the box. Billingham has him, 1 down. 4, 7, 8 in a row now. Billingham's retired. The last hit he gave up was Seaver's double in the second, which has scored the only run of this game.
And a play like that Billingham just made is strictly instinct, especially off artificial surface. Just happen to have your glove there.
John Milner hitting in the cleanup spot is single and walked. Ball 1 to him. And Milner is being played as a pull hitter to right field. The final college scores, Notre Dame beat Michigan State. They had to struggle. 14-10. Georgia Tech 14, Army 10. Harvard 16, Boston University nothing. Purdue 27, Duke 7. Final scores. A ball and a strike.
Kurt talking to Yogi before the ball game, he says part of the problem with Milner's slump, late season slump, is the fact he's trying to pull the ball too much. He's a better hitter when he goes to left center field with the outside pitch.
Fouled away. Let's take a look where that shortstop's playing, Tony. Cheney's almost in back of second base. Now watch him.
Center fielder Geronimo moved over toward right center. Especially dangerous to try and pull Billingham with that sinker moving away.
That's a good pitch by Billingham. His fastball's a little quicker now than it was earlier.
He throws that sinker ball a lot, Kurt, and several times today with 2 strikes on a hitter, he's come over the top with the seams and put a little more speed, a little more oomph behind the fastball, and he's caught some looking.
Well, it's settling down just about the way everyone predicted. A tight pitching duel between Seaver and Billingham. They're the men right now. Cleon Jones is hit into a double play and struck out. A shade outside to him, ball 1. 2 down, bases empty. The Mets batting in the 6th. They're leading 1-0. That curve is over. 1 ball, 1 strike. Strike 2. 1-2. Billingham walked 3, but he hasn't walked anyone since the 3rd inning. He's ahead of the hitters now. The 1-2 pitch. Curve is hit off the end of the bat to Joe Morgan. There's a 1-2-3 inning again for Jack Billingham. At the end of 5 1/2, it's New York 1 and Cincinnati nothing.
This conventional-looking realistic pocket radio sells for $15, but it gives you something unconventional. Weather reports exclusively 24 hours a day.
Rains are creating a possibility of flash flooding in dry
Radio Shack not only sells it, Radio Shack designs it, and Radio Shack engineers it so you can depend on it.
Because you can't depend on the weather. The realistic weather radio, there's only one place you can find it, Radio Shack.
When I was a kid, my old man, the tailor, bought me 2-3 pair of pants a year. Summer, winter, same stuff. But always Farrah pants, because they hardly ever wore out. But now, this kid of mine has to have dozens. Flares, low-rise, high-rise, knits, cords, matching tops. What's a father to do? I tell him, buy Farrah's. For $13, I can't touch them, and I'm the fastest needle in town.
Farrah pants at $10 to $30, next best thing to tailor-made.
Maybe better.
Tomorrow, 1 o'clock, football, baseball, doubleheader on NBC. You'll see either Baltimore at New England, Cincinnati at Cleveland, New York at Miami, San Diego at Pittsburgh, Oakland at St. Louis, Denver at Kansas City. Then after that, we'll have Game 2 of the National League Championship Series between the Mets and the Reds. Don Gullett against John Matlack. Joe Morgan pops it up. Bud Harrelson squeezes it. Rose and Morgan are 0 for 6. One down in the last of the 6th inning. Dan Dreesen is grounded out, and he dumped the double down the left field line. Tom Seaver, this has not been an easy club for Seaver. The Reds Seaver's won 8 and lost 12 in his lifetime career to Cincinnati. Dreesen fouls it back. 0-1. 1 run, 3 hits for the Mets. No runs, 3 hits for the Reds. The Reds have 1 down, nobody on, last of the 6th inning. Foul again. 0-2. Dreesen has played straight away and deep. He hits to all fields.
Talked to Ted Pazuski, the Reds hitting instructor, before the ball game. He said Dreesen is going to have to make some adjustments. They've started to pitch him inside. He's going to have to learn to pull the ball. He likes the ball away. He likes to reach for the ball and go the opposite direction with it.
1 ball, 2 strikes. He'll be followed by Tony Perez. Fouls the curve off. 1-2.
Pazuski went on to say about young Dan Dreesen that as soon as he learns to pull that inside pitch, he's going to hit a flock of home runs because he's extremely strong.
One-two pitch. That was a bad pitch, and he had him reaching. Just got a piece of it. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Baltimore 6, Oakland nothing. First game of the American League Championship Series today. Low fastball. 2-2 to Dan Dreesen. Bench has a double, Dreesen a double, Geronimo a single. Those are the 3 hits off Seaver. And a foul ball again.
Kurt, Seaver now appears to have, as we look at Perez on deck, Seaver appears to have gone away from that hard fastball most of the time. I think he'll still use it in a strikeout situation, but he seems to be throwing a little bit easier and turning the ball over and trying to sink it to get the ground balls. He's trying to save a little bit, possibly for late in the ball game.
He hasn't walked a batter. He's hit 1. 6 strikeouts. This will be a 2-2 pitch to Dan Dreesen. He's giving Seaver a workout. Both these playoff games are complete sellouts today and tomorrow. Another foul. And they're not blacked out. In fact, we have 2 channels televising this game here in Cincinnati.
The crowds all year long on this one today, quite a tribute, Kurt, to the front office people here in Cincinnati. They've gone out and worked at promoting and merchandising their product. For them to draw over 2 million at home in the smallest city as Cincinnati is extraordinary.
Struck him out on a curve. Strikeout 7 for Tom Seaver. Tony Perez is grounded out, flied out. Let's check these strikeouts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let me correct myself. 8 strikeouts for Tom Seaver. Tony Perez with 2 outs, nobody on, and the Mets ahead 1-0. Last of the 6th inning. Swinging in that breaking pitch. 0-1. So far, Tom Seaver is wearing him on his watch chain. And Billingham's been just as good since the 2nd inning. Curve again, strike 2. You're right, he's gone to more breaking stuff. Maybe he tries to pop the fastball by him now. Or will he tease him with some more breaking stuff?
He does. I would think it'll be high and tight, probably a bad pitch, trying to move Perez away.
Foul tip, strike 3, strikeout number 9 for Seaver. 3 up and 3 down for the Reds at the end of 6. It is 1-0 New York.
The Chrysler has always been designed with the idea that it should be an automobile of integrity and beauty. Introducing a totally new expression of that idea. A Chrysler with an altogether new appearance. A Chrysler with an abundance of comfort. See the 1974 Chrysler New Yorker. A totally new expression of an idea that has never changed.
Shopping, phone calls, dog got away. No time to cook on this busy day. Come on, get a bucket of chicken. Finger licking good, have a barrel of fun. Goodbye, ho-hum.
When you've got no time to cook, get some hot Kentucky Fried Chicken and fixins and have some fun.
America loves what the Colonel cooks. Have a finger-licking good time, barrel of fun.
As we were telling you earlier, that's the inter-club result. Reds winning 4 games in each park this year. They play 12 games against a team out of their division and 18 against a team within their division. Jerry Grody would like to celebrate his birthday today with a base hit. So far he's failed. He's flied out and grounded out. Strike one to him. Jack Billingham has retired 10 in a row. Soft curves away. 1 ball, 1 strike. And he's retired 13 of the last 14 batters he's faced. The Seaver's been just a shade better. 1-0, New York. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Grody. Don Hahn's on deck, and then Bud Harrelson. Strike 3. And strikeout number 5 for Billingham.
He has got that curveball, about 3/4 delivery, that is murderous to right-handed hitters. Like the old, high school roundhouse, starts almost behind some of the hitters, it appears, from up here, and ends out on the outside part of the plate.
He's very effective against right-handers. Don Hahn has struck out, lined out to right field. A ball, the Mets are leading 1-0. We're in the 7th inning. Game 2 tomorrow, then a move to New York Monday for Game 3. Curve, strike, 1-1.
Watch the curveball. Don Hahn rocking back on his heels, starting right at his shoulders, catching the outside corner.
And a fastball comes through for strike 2 call, 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes. Hahn has gone. That curve again by Billingham. Strikeout number 6 for him.
Kurt, the way these Mets scored their first run is kind of unusual off Jack Billingham. Let's watch it again, that breaking ball in slow motion. But talking about that run, look at that ball break. Talking about the run the Mets got, you wouldn't expect a veteran pitcher like Billingham to issue a walk to the number 8 hitter and then let a pitcher, Tom Seaver, beat him with a double. Or not beat him yet, but if that run holds up, he'll have beaten him.
2 down, nobody on for the Mets in the 7th. They're ahead 1-0. The fastball's outside, 1-0. Billingham is not a strikeout pitcher. He struck out an average of 4.8 batters every 9 innings this year. So he's better than his season ratio in this game. He has struck out 6. Seaver struck out 9. 2 balls and a strike. Each team has 3 hits. 2-1 to Bud Harrelson. Foul tip, 2-2. Billingham now with Seaver looking on deck. Billingham's a strike away from whiffing the side. Ground ball to Joe Morgan. The Mets are gone in the 7th. Well, the old 7th inning stretch coming up here and sold out Riverfront Stadium with a score 1-0 New York.
The Scandinavian takeover. It started with the blonde and was continued by Eric. Eric, the Scandinavian-sized filter-tip cigar that Americans enjoy nearly 500,000 times a day. Eric, the most pleasurable idea from Scandinavia since the blonde, and the most popular. Eric, natural, menthol, or cherry.
All the time people ask me, why don't you guys change your name? Goodrich, Goodyear, pretty confusing. And Goodyear's done more advertising. Look, I say, for 5 years nationally, we've advertised nothing but radial tires. We introduced the first one made in America. Now, you'll probably see Goodyear featuring a steel radial, too. You get confused? Look up in the sky. You see an enormous blimp up there with somebody's name on it? We're the other guys.
If you want Goodrich, you'll just have to remember Goodrich.
Let's listen to last year's most valuable player in the National League, Johnny Bench, talking about the pitching of Tom Seaver.
Oddly enough, he doesn't throw me a lot of strikes. He likes to keep the fastball up and in, and he'll try to keep the fastballs and sliders away. And he will mix in an occasional off-speed curved ball, off-speed slider. He's got great command of his stuff, and you don't know from one day to the next, one time he's seen to the next, what he is going to throw you. But I know one thing. We'll be the first time out there, we'll know that he's going to challenge us how his arm really is, because if he does, he's pretty sound. We won't have to look for too much else the rest of the day.
All right, Johnny Bench has analyzed Tom Seaver. The last time Bench was at the bat, he struck out on 2 bad rising fastballs. And let's see how Seaver handles him this time. Bench has doubled and struck out. The last of the 7th inning. Foul ball back. Pedro Borbon now is going to work in the Cincinnati bullpen. Their ace reliever. He was warming up earlier in the first inning when the Mets had the bases loaded, 1 down. Borbon. 1 strike to Johnny Bench. Breaking pitch outside, 1-1. Bench will be followed by Ken Griffey and Cesar Geronimo. A strike, and almost certainly, if we get down to the bottom of the order and the Reds are trailing, they'll hit for Cheney and Billingham. 1 ball, 2 strikes. They're deep and straight away for Bench. Fastball, he was looking for it, and he fouls it off and back at third. Bench was waiting for that one.
Seaver's challenging him with a fastball. He said, here, Johnny, if you can hit my best, go right ahead. And Bench so far has not been able to. Been late on some fastballs. He's swung at some bad pitches.
Cincinnati's been shut out 8 times this year, tying Atlanta for the fewest times shut out in the league. 6 of the shutouts were here in Cincinnati. Only twice were they shut out on the road. Curve is hit to the box through Seaver. Up for the ball, Harrelson. Safe.
Buddy Harrelson had a long way to go as he was playing Johnny Bench well over into the hole at third base, and when Seaver just slowed it down a little bit, it prevented the ball from getting to Buddy Harrelson quickly enough to make a play on Bench.
So Bench has 2 of the 4 hits for Cincinnati. He is a slow man, but he legged that one out. Ken Griffey up now. A very good bunter. Here's a slow motion of
Watch the play again. A good follow through, but just to the right of Seaver. He could not adjust himself. The ball hit off the end of the bat on the breaking ball, but just slowing it up enough. You can see the ball not getting quickly enough to Harrelson.
Strike 1 to Ken Griffey. Griffey likes to bunt. More likely to push a bunt down the third baseline. He's the fastest player in this ball club now. He hit a ground ball to Willie McCovey the last series against the Giants. And he bluffed that bunt. It's a strike to him. McCovey waved the pitcher off to make the play at first, and Griffin beat McCovey by a step. McCovey about 15 feet off the bag. Griffin was 90 feet away.
I think I read somewhere where he has been timed, as we looked at Bench being held by Milner at first base. Griffey has been timed in 3.5 seconds going down to first base on a batted ball.
And McCovey said he was one of the fastest players he'd ever seen. There's a drive. What a play by Bud Harrelson as he robs Griffey of a base hit.
There has been pretty much of the key to the Mets during their drive in September, when they came from well behind to overtake the rest of the league. Yelling instructions now to his pitcher and the meow, watch the bunt, watch the bunt. He's a leader in that infield. And he always seems to come up with a crucial play. Watch it again. A check swing by Griffey. Harrelson was playing about up the middle as Seaver made a good pitch, a sinker. The dive by Harrelson getting up to throw, but no chance to double bench off.
All right, Cesar Geronimo struck out and singled. Bud Harrelson with the sparkling play of the game so far. Benches at first, 1 out. The Mets are leading 1-0. 7th inning. Strike 1 to Geronimo. Cheney is on deck. Bourbon throwing harder in the Cincinnati bullpen. 1 strike. No action in the Met bullpen. Strike 2 on the outside corner. 0-2.
Kurt, if some action should start in the Mets bullpen at this stage of the game, there is Ed Crosby on your left, an infielder, should they pinch hit for Cheney, and Bourbon on your right. But should the Mets bullpen become active, you can bet it's going to be that left-hander, Tug McGraw with a screwball.
Geronimo is the 10th strikeout victim for Tom Seaver. Incidentally, Tug McGraw's father-in-law died this morning, and his wife had to leave town. There was some doubt whether he would be here or not. Larry Stahl is coming out to bat now for Cincinnati. Larry Stahl will replace Don Cheney, or Darrell Cheney.
So we'll probably see Crosby go in for defensive measures as the Reds take the field.
Crosby goes to short when they hit for Cheney. Larry Stahl, left-handed batter. The Reds have 2 down. Johnny Bench at first. The Mets are ahead 1-0, last of the 7th. Baltimore beat Oakland 6-0. Game 1 of the American League Championship Series. Stahl hit .225 this year, 2 homers, 12 RBIs. The Reds have had excellent pinch hitting, especially from Gagliano and Costco. Strike 1 to Stahl. Seaver has had sharp control. He hasn't walked a batter. He hit Griffey in the 2nd inning. Been ahead of the hitters most of the time. Strike 2. 0-2 to Larry Stahl. And he's throwing just as hard now, Tony, as he was earlier.
Kurt, I think it's interesting that in baseball, especially more than most other sports, you have to reprove yourself so often. It's been written about Tom Seaver in some New York papers that he cannot pitch in the clutch. I think he's trying to prove today that he can.
Ball 1, strike 2. We have a soft light now. It's overcast. The lights have been on here at Riverfront. The shadows are gone. No more shadows and bright sunshine. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Strike 3, 11 strikeouts for Seaver. No runs, a hit, no errors, 1 left for the Reds at the end of 7. 1-0, New York Mets.
You know what it costs to put a new engine in a car like this? About $400. You know what it costs to put in a new Fram oil filter when you get your oil changed? About $4. Now, if the guy who owns this car had done that regularly, chances are I wouldn't be here now doing this. Well, the choice is yours. You can pay me now or pay me later.
Many of today's fastest racers are man-made eagles, and I'm the man who helped make them, Dan Gurney. I'm here to tell you about Dow Supercoolant Antifreeze with the Dow Guard Test Strip. Gives you both winter freeze-up and summer boil-over protection. Full year-round value. Before you buy, compare the leading brands. You'll buy Dow. Dow makes a science out of caring for your car. Dow.
We pause now for station identification.
Columbo enters the case when a winemaker's brother mysterious...
You are looking at a nightmare. The nightmare of banking. The time is now. The place, New York. The eternal line. The paradox of man being forced to wait for his own money.
At Manufacturers Hanover, we're trying to take this nightmare out of banking.
Every branch has a quick deposit box for a simple deposit or payment. And many branches have an express line that gets you to a teller fast. We're doing a lot of things to make banking easier.
Marv Albert, weeknights on the 11th hour.
New shortstop, Ed Crosby. They had tamed him from the Cardinals when they sent pitcher Ed Sprague to St. Louis. And in the 8th inning, Jack Billingham slips the strike over against Tom Seaver. Seaver has doubled in the only run of this game in the 2nd inning with 2 down. Harrelson, who'd walked in first, scored on Seaver's double to left center. There's a fly ball in the center field. Geronimo waiting, 1 down. Billingham is now retired 14 in a row, 17 of his last 18, and yet he's trailing 1-0. He's not allowed a hit since the 2nd inning.
They've talked about an advantage that the Mets are supposed to have in the pitching department in this series. But this Reds club has good pitching. Don Gullett, Ross Grimsley, Carroll, Hall, Barbone in the bullpen.
Fred Norman, he helped the Reds when they got him from San Diego. Garrett at the top of the Met batting order has singled, grounded out twice, 1 out of 3. 1 run, 3 hits for the Mets, no runs, 4 hits for the Reds. We're in the 8th inning. A strike, 0-1. You know, the Mets have hit only 1 ball out of the infield since the 4th inning, Tony. 1-1. Billingham, you notice, pitches very easily. He sort of fools around with you. Shows you the fastball and the curve and the slider. Nice, easy motion. That one's rammed foul down the first base line. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Kurt, it's the type of game you would expect from both of these pitchers in the game today. Seaver, overpowering style, striking out a lot of hitters, getting fly balls with that fastball. Billingham, with good control, usually not quite so sharp today, not striking out many, but getting the ground balls.
Wayne Garrett, the batter, 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out, bases empty. Felix Millan is on deck. Fly ball to left field. Pete Rose will get under this one. 2 down. And now 15 in a row retired by Jack Billingham. He's probably thinking, what does the guy have to do? Millan, a sacrifice, grounded out, flied out. Well, you know, we watched him in the World Series last year and today. He's been brilliant every time out in the World Series and today.
In the 8th for the Reds, he'll be the first hitter, and we will probably see a pinch hitter. And you can see, Kurt, how the difference in play in the American National League and how that designated hitter comes into play here. Designated hitter, if it would be in existence in the National League, Billingham would stay in the ball game.
We had 12 20-game winners in the American League this year, an all-time record, mostly because they got to stay in and pitch and were not lifted for pinch hitter. 2 balls and a strike. 2 down, nobody on. Tom Hall is now throwing in the Cincinnati bullpen. And this will probably be the last we'll see of Billingham. 2 balls and a strike. Ground ball drilled to shortstop Crosby. Throws him out, 3 up and 3 down, and Billingham, boy, he was something from the 2nd inning on. At the end of 7 1/2, 1-0 Mets.
Once a year, the ice melts, and you can make it into the back bays of Alaska. They depend on you, and you wouldn't want to miss the feeling that Gusto World brings. When you only go around once, it's Gusto that counts.
Come around, take the best that life's given. Come around, taste the gusto of Schlitz.
In the last 3 years, over 250,000 people switched from a
Remember, the World Series will open a week from today in the American League City. If it's in Baltimore, we'll be on the air at 1:30 Eastern Daylight Time on NBC. If in Oakland, we'll be on at 3:30 Eastern Daylight Time. We'll have 3 night games when they switch cities to the National League. Those will be in prime time beginning at 8 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. NBC again presenting the World Series across America and around the world now on television. Hal King, batting 186. 4 homers. They were big ones as pinch hits. Outside for a ball. He struck the blow that started the Reds on their way this year. The Reds have blown a 5-run lead to the Dodgers the night before in July. He came up with a couple of men on, last of the 9th inning, 2 out, and hit a pinch hit homer, and the Reds started. Foul ball, 1-1. Tom Seaver and Jack Billingham have staged a brilliant pitching duel as you'll want to see today. Seaver struck out 11, no walks, has hit a batter. He's allowed 4 hits. Billingham's gone now. He wound up retiring 16 in a row. He struck out 6, walked 3 early. From the 2nd inning on, he was almost unhittable. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pete Rose is on deck, and then Joe Morgan. High and away, ball 2. 2 balls and a strike. There's Rose. He's been shut out 3 times. He's itching to get up there. 2-1. A check swing, 3-1.
His fastball is obviously still moving, Kurt, as King almost went after it. Hal King is the last left-handed pinch hitter that Sparky Anderson had, should he try and make some more percentage moves with his hitters. From here on in, he's only got right-handed hitters.
No action in the Met bullpen. Seaver behind, 3-1. That's strike 2. This is one of the few batters that Seaver's been behind on. When you're ahead of the hitter with the stuff Seaver has, you're in command. The 3-2 delivery struck him out on an outside fastball, a foul tip. That's strikeout 12 for Tom Seaver.
I see now a left-hander putting a glove on in the Mets dugout, now walking down to the bullpen, a famous 45 in New York, Tug McGraw.
Well, he didn't have a great early part of the season, but how he wound it up. And this morning he received word that his father-in-law died, and his wife had to fly out of Cincinnati this morning.
Seaver apparently having some equipment problems. The right shoe, he may have torn it, dragging that foot that we showed you before the ball game. Most of these pitchers wear extra pieces of leather, double, triple coated, so to speak, on that right toe because they tear up so many pairs of shoes during the course of the year, dragging that shoe in their follow-through.
Tony, he's now struck out 5 of the last 7 men he's faced. He has 12 strikeouts in the game, and if he's bothered by that tendonitis today, he has to be completely sound. Yogi Berra explaining to the umpire. This drives. Cincinnati's drive was the longest. From the 1st of July on, they won 60 of their last 86 games. Imagine that, 60 wins and only 26 losses from the 1st of July on. The Mets didn't start their drive till August 27th. Then they won 24 of their last 33. So you really have 2 hot clubs coming into this playoff. Talk about the Mets being hot in September, but so was Cincinnati. Here's Pete Rose now. Ball 1 to him. Rose is fouled out, flied out, and struck out. Joe Morgan on deck. The strike, 1-1. 53,431 is the official paid attendance today. A Major League playoff record. Beating the record of 69 at Shea Stadium. Ball 2 to Rose. So now Seaver was behind pinch hitter King, 3-1, and got him out. Now he's behind Pete Rose, 2 balls and a strike. 1 out, nobody on. Oh-ho. You can hear that one pop into the catcher's mitt of Jerry Grody up here. 2-2.
He's still got enough left for that occasional fastball when he reaches back extra. Garrett at third and Milner at first, really on the line to prevent against that double.
Foul away. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Pete Rose. Both bullpens are still active. Tom Hall for the Reds. There's the first baseman Milner on the line. And Tug McGraw for the Mets. That's a good look for you up the left field foul line. There's a long blast. Going. It is gone. Pete Rose, who hit only 5 homers all year, drilled that one into deep right center, and the game is tied 1-1.
Fastball about belt high inside, and Pete got all of it. He has won this town back, Kurt. It was Johnny Bench's town for a couple of years after a couple of MVPs, and there is some rivalry between the two in this town, the rivalry to excel. And Pete has still got them standing on their feet here in Cincinnati.
And Joe Morgan is making Seaver wait. He went over to the on-deck circle. Seaver had to go into the dugout and change his shoe. Might have disrupted him a bit. All right, here's Morgan up. Ball one to him. Morgan is fouled out, flied out, and popped out. Well, Billingham's off the hook. He cannot lose this game. And he could win it if his team went ahead this inning. Foul ball, hit hard. 1 ball, 1 strike to Morgan. A 2-2 pitch that Pete Rose hit. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Morgan. 1 out, nobody on, last of the 8th inning. Foul away, 1 ball, 2 strikes. The Reds about hit the Mets 5-3.
Kurt, there's always a lot of excitement at World Series, but I've never seen a comparable reaction, even during World Series time, which is still going on after Rose's home run.
Curve bends inside. Rose looking up at the scoreboard. 2-2. He's been a Cincinnati Red fan since a little boy here. The 2-2 pitch. Struck him out. A foul tip on a sharp curve. Strikeout number 13 for Tom Seaver. 2 down, nobody on, and Dan Dreesen up. Has grounded out, doubled, and struck out. I wonder how many fans really know Seaver's first name. It's not Tom.
Herman.
George. George Thomas Seaver. Dreesen takes ball 1.
Didn't know that. You come up with a lot of little brilliant gems.
Gotta do something. 1 ball, no strike. That's a strike. 1-1 to Dan Dreesen. Tony Perez on deck. The Mets now in the 9th inning will have the middle of...
Dreesen, who played first base most of his baseball career, but the Reds had to have a third baseman, so they made one out of Dreesen. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Curveball hits in the dirt. Short hop by Grody. So the count is 2-1. Dennis Menke and Alex Grammas were the men who molded Dreesen into a defensive third baseman. No one had to mold him at the plate. He could always swing the bat. Here's the 2-1 delivery. Fastball swung on it in the air to left. Leon Jones is coming on. He makes the catch and the side is retired. But the Cincinnati Reds get a run on a hit, the homer by Rose. No errors, none left, and at the end of 8 innings, the score is the Reds 1 and the Mets 1. Onto that right foot, so that's why he took off the right shoe and made the change in the dugout. So it wasn't anything physical, it was an equipment problem. Here's the 2-0 pitch to Rusty Staub. That is high. Tom Hall goes behind 3-0. Billingham pitched 8 innings, gave up 1 run on only 3 hits. He struck out 6 and he walked 3. Mets had him on the ropes when they loaded the bases with 1 man out in the first inning, but did not score then. Here's a pitch that is taken in there, fastball for a called strike. 3-1 to Staub. Staub walked in the first, flied to center in the third, grounded out in the 6th, 0 for 2. This will be a 3-1 delivery, and it's on the way. High and tight walk him, and the Mets pick up a leadoff base runner here in the top of the 9th inning. Rusty Staub, who is not blessed with great speed, goes to first base. Base on ball. fourth walk the Mets have drawn today. The first one issued by Hall. He's only faced one batter. John Milner's coming up. Had a base hit in the first. Henson has walked and was called out on strikes. Looks to Eddie Yost to see how the Mets will play it. Tony Perez at first base holds against the runner. Dreesen is in at third. Pitch is high as Milner squared the bunt. Milner squared as though the bunt. Now the crowd's getting upset at the lack of control by relief pitcher Tom Hall. Dreesen moves up even more after having seen Milner, the cleanup batter, move into bunting stance. Score is tied 1-1. Mets bat in the ninth. Milner's around, takes high again. So now, Tom Hall has gone behind 2-0. Here comes Sparky Anderson looking at the bullpen. He might bring Pedro Bourbon in here right now. Bourbon was his ace in the bullpen. The count is 2-0 as Hall has had a little control trouble. He's gone behind 2-0 on Milner, who's been bunting on the first two pitches. Sparky Anderson at the mound, so Rusty Staub calls time and is running into the dugout to some purpose. That is off of Tom Hall. Pedro Bourbon is being brought in. So Sparky Anderson goes to the quick hook and takes Hall out of the ball game right now. Only Mike Marshall of the Montreal Expos appeared in more games than did Pedro Bourbon. He appeared against the Mets 5 times. This is his 81st appearance. He has a record of 11 wins and 4 losses. Last time out on the 30th of September, he went 2 innings against the Giants, gave up no runs and no hits. Pedro Bourbon finished the season with a 9-game winning streak. His last loss was July 4th to San Francisco. In that span, he also had 7 saves. His earned run average since the 4th of July was 1.09. That's fantastic. The Dominican right-hander gave up only 4 home runs in 121 innings.
So that is why Sparky Anderson went so quickly to Bourbon. Right-hander taking his warm-up pitches now. See how Yogi Berra plays it here. Situation, score tied 1-1. Mets batting in the 9th inning. Rusty Staub, the runner at first. But now a right-hander, Pedro Bourbon, has come in. The Mets have John Milner, left-hand bat at the plate, and the count is 2-0. Yogi had the bunt on the first 2 pitches. Does he leave the bunt on? Does he take it off and let Milner swing away at a 2-0 pitch against a right-hand pitcher? Well, those are percentages that the manager has to figure out in making his decision. Milner is followed in the order by right-hand batter Cleon Jones, right-hand batter Jerry Grody. One whale of a ball game here at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati, Ohio, as the New York Mets and the Cincinnati Reds battle for the pennant in the National League. This is the best-of-5 series. First 2 games here, and then whatever games are necessary back in New York starting on Monday afternoon at 2 p.m. New York time. John Milner is in and waiting. Rusty Staub leads out the bag at first. Throw to first, not in time. Perez holding against the runner. Dreesen in on the turf there at third. Bourbon sets up. Here's the pitch. He's swinging away, but takes high. He was not bunting. He was ready to swing away. The count's gone 3-0. Now might have him take. Although a power hitter like Milner frequently is turned loose on a 3-0 if he gets what he likes. Staub takes his lead. Bourbon has the sign. Here's the pitch. It's taken in there for a call strike. It's 3-1 now to Milner. Now, what do? Do you go back to the bunt to try to move the runner up, or do you let Milner swing away on a 3-1? Whatever it is, the information has been passed along to Milner from sign man Eddie Yost at third. Bourbon sets. Here's the pitch. He's around, and the pitch is in for a call strike. Count's full at 3-2. He squared around the bunt, but took the pitch, and the count is full at 3-2. So now another managerial decision. Nobody out. The Mets are trying to build a run here in the top half of the 9th inning. Score tied 1-1. Pedro Bourbon has the sign. Staub is running, hit and run. Fly ball to center. Staub retreats to first. Geronimo's there. Geronimo waits, makes the catch. Staub tags to draw a throw and goes back to first. So the Mets switched off the hit and run on the 3-2. But Milner flied to center, and that brings up Cleon Jones with 1 man out. Cleon has
grounded into a double play. Struck out swinging, grounded out. Gone 0 for 3 here today. The Mets made their one-run lead stand up from the first inning to the 8th inning, but then one swing of the bat of Pete Rose sent the ball flying out into the seats in right. And the Cincinnati Reds had tied the score at 1-1, and that's where it is just now, with the Mets batting in the top of the 9th inning. Warborn's pitch to Jones. Low and away for a ball. It's 1-0. Rusty Staub takes his lead at first. Warborn delivers. Pitches in for a call strike to Jones. It's 1-1. This park was packed in jam for the first pitch, and it's still packed in jam. Here's the 1-1 delivery. Just off the outside corner, and it's 2-1. 2-1 is the count. Just missed the outside corner. When Ed Sudol, the plate umpire, calls a pitch, he sometimes indicates with the pantomime where it was. He indicated with his right hand that it was off the corner. Some of the fans misread that initially. This will be a 2-1 delivery. Swung on and hit in the air to center field. Right center. Geronimo drifts over. He's there. Staub is tagged at first. Geronimo makes the catch. Staub comes off, draws the throw, and goes back. 2 away, and Leon Jones has slid to center. Grody is the batter. Jerry Grody has slid to center, grounded out and struck out. He's gone 0 for 3. Warborn comes down, smooths out the dirt there, where he's been striding on the mound. Here's the pitch to Grody. Fastball low, and it's ball 1. 1-0 the count with Staub at first base and 2 men out. Outfield defense shaded toward right against Grody. That pitch sails high. So Warborn goes behind 2-0 to Grody. He's followed in the order by Don Hahn. Now the pitch. In there for a called strike. It's 2-1 to Grody. Jerry's hitting .256 for the year. But hitting better than .300 since August 1st. Down the stretch, he had a number of big hits. Here's the 2-1 offering, and it's a fastball low. Warborn goes behind now, 3-1. To walk Grody would be to push the possible go-ahead run into scoring position at second base. Grody moves back in. Warborn bends forward now to take the sign. Gets it, 3-1 pitch. Swung on and missed. It's full of 3-2. It'll be an automatic start now for Rusty Staub. On the pitch, Staub will be moving. 2 men out. Runner at first. Score tied 1-1 in the 9th inning. Harris playing behind the runner at first. There goes Staub. Here's a swing and a ground ball. A high chop to short. Charged by Crosby. Throw to first and in time. Got him. The side is retired. In order. Nothing across. A walk, rather, and 1 left. A walk and 1 left. And in the middle of the 9th inning, the score is the Mets 1 and the Reds 1.
In the Capital District, this is the home of the New York Knicks. WABY, Albany. WABY.
Market announces its first annual Columbus Day weekend sale. $1 million worth of name brand ski equipment drastically reduced. K2's last year's model, regularly $135, now only $99.50. Rossignol skis values up to $160, now $69.88. Kustown Parkers, regularly $60, prices slashed to $34.88. Brand new Tyrolia bindings, regularly $32.50, now only $19.88. And many, many more super savings at the ski market. 600 Choice Connecticut Road, Latham, open Monday through Friday, 10 till 10. Saturday till 6. Use your Bank Americard or MasterCharge. The ski markets.
Everyone knows that the new 74s are out, and at Knowles Pontiac, they're on display and ready to be delivered. But what you don't know is how many new 1973s we want to deliver by the end of October. And you don't know what we at Knowles would do to satisfy you on our 1973 Le Mans Sport, luxury Le Mans, station wagons, Catalina, and Bonneville. You can save up to $1,200. Get to know us today at Knowles Pontiac. It will be well worth the trip to 6th Avenue to Knowles Pontiac in North Troy.
WABY. Tom Seaver has struck out 13, walked none. Perez has grounded out, flied out, struck out. He's gone 0 for 3. Right-hand batter facing Seaver. Who is into the motion, and here is the pitch. Curveball, hit on the ground to short. But Harrelson has it. He goes across in time, and Perez has grounded out, short to first. Johnny Bench is coming up. He's had 2 hits today. He's 2 for 3. Bench is a right-hand batter, batting here with 1 man out and nobody on, as the Reds are batting in the bottom of the 9th inning. Breaking pitch, and it's low for a ball. The score is tied 1-1. Here's a pitch. Swung on, hit deep to left. It's fair back. Going, and it is gone for a home run for Johnny Bench. The Cincinnati Reds win by a score of 2-1. Bench is rounding the bases. Seaver is almost at the dugout. Johnny Bench is in a home run, and all the Reds are at the plate, led by Pete Rose, as Bench hit the 1-0 pitch out of the lot, and the Cincinnati Reds have won the game. They are jubilant at the plate as 2 home runs, 1 in the 8th and 1 in the 9th inning, won it for the Cincinnati Reds as they have beaten Tom Seaver, and the Cincinnati Reds take a lead of 1 game to none in the championship series. It was a 1-0 pitch. It was a line drive home run over the left field fence. It hit the back wall, but cleared the front wall, which is a home run marker. Johnny Bench, who had 25 home runs during regular season play, hit that one out on a 1-0 pitch with 1 man out in the bottom of the 9th inning, and the Cincinnati Reds have won it by a final score of 2-1. Seaver takes the loss. Pedro Bourbon gets the win. We'll be back in a moment with the final summary and totals. Right.
Let Protective Loan help make financial problems disappear with a bill consolidation loan. Protective Loan gives fast, friendly, 1-day service, and they'll even help with family budgeting advice. Protective Loan likes to help people like you, and now Protective Loan can lend you up to $2,500 for any good reason. There's always a Protective Loan office nearby in North Troy at 603 2nd Avenue, 620 Columbia Turnpike, East Greenbush, and in Menands at 291 Broadway.
Attention skiers, the ski market announces its first annual Columbus Day weekend sale. $1 million worth of name brand ski equipment drastically reduced. K2's last year's model, regularly $135, now only $99.50. Rossignol skis values up to $160, now $69.88. Goosedown Parkers, regularly $60, prices slashed to $34.88. Brand new Tyrolia bindings, regularly $32.50, now only $19.88. And many, many more super savings at the ski market. 600 Choice Connecticut Road, Latham, open Monday through Friday, 10 till 10, Saturday till 6. Use your Bank AmeriCard or MasterCharge. The ski markets.
14 WABY. Crowd here at Riverfront Stadium is still standing, savoring the impact of the sudden victory of the Cincinnati Reds as Johnny Bench hit the ball over the left field fence. We knew coming into the championship series that it would be basically Mets pitching against Cincinnati power. We saw plenty of both. Both was magnificent here this afternoon. Tom Seaver on the mound for the New York Mets had the Cincinnati Reds shut out until the 8th inning. Seaver struck out 13 Reds in all. The New York Mets, on the other hand, had Billingham on the ropes in the very first inning. Wayne Garrett led off with a base hit, was sacrificed to second. Rusty Staub walked, and Milner singled. There was action in the bullpen as Sparky Anderson had Bourbon up and throwing, but then Cleon Jones grounded into a double play. But in the second inning, with 2 men out, Bud Harrelson walked. Seaver himself doubled all the way to the wall and left center. Harrelson raced home from first, and the New York Mets had a 1-0 lead. At that point, Billingham got things straightened out, and he was untouchable thereafter. However, the 1-0 lead stood up until Pete Rose came up for the Cincinnati Reds with 1 man out in the 8th inning. The count was 2-2 to Pete Rose as he hit the ball over the right field fence and back up into the seats for a home run that tied the score at 1-1. And so the Cincinnati Reds then came up in the bottom of the ninth. Tony Perez grounded out short to first. The count was 1-0 to Johnny Bench when he lined the ball over the left field fence for a home run that won the ball game for the Cincinnati Reds by a score of 2-1. So we'll have another game to be played here tomorrow afternoon. We'll be on the air at 4 p.m. to bring you that one. And it's going to be John Matlack going for the New York Mets against Don Gullett of the Cincinnati Reds. 4 p.m. New York time tomorrow, second game, and this is the best-of-5 series that will move back to New York on Monday afternoon. So the final score again was the Reds 2, the Mets 1. We'll be back with more in just 1 minute.
Cadillac for 1974, the standard of American automobile excellence, is now available for your inspection at Headley Cadillac Oldsmobile, 515 River Street in Troy. Cadillac, with 9 luxurious models to choose from, offers new concepts in styling and comfort, responsive handling, and the #1 car for resale value when it comes time to trade. Cadillac for 1974 from Headley will bring the finest in driving pleasure to you and your family. But whether it's a new or previously owned Cadillac, Headley Cadillac Oldsmobile in Troy will make the ownership of America's ultimate automobile your finest in car buying experience. See the 74 Cadillac at Headley, 515 River Street, Troy. You'll know why Cadillac outsells the leading luxury car 2-1. For TWABY.
This was an afternoon and a place for big stars of the game, and we saw them perform. For the Cincinnati Reds, Pete Rose with a homer to tie it, Johnny Bench with a homer to win it, and for the Mets, Tom Seaver. 13 strikeouts, walked none, and he himself knocked in the lone Met run. Seaver had no physical problems at all during the game, but did pause in the 8th inning to replace a pinch pad, and after making that pause for equipment trouble, gave up the home run to Pete Rose and a succeeding home run to Johnny Bench. Here are the final totals for the Cincinnati Reds. 2 runs on 6 hits and no errors. For the Mets, 1 run on 3 hits and no errors. Bourbon gets the win. Seaver takes the loss. Be with us tomorrow at 4 p.m. New York time